2,000 years ago, the Roman Empire stood as the pinnacle of human civilization. Stretching from the windswept moors of Britain to the sands of Egypt, Rome's dominion was unmatched, its might uncontested. But every empire has its sunset. Today, we embark on a journey through time to uncover the story of the fall of this mighty empire, how it came to be, what caused its decline, and the enduring legacy it left behind. The story of Rome is a saga of ambition, power, and hubris. It is a tale that spans centuries, involving legendary figures whose decisions shaped the future of the world. In this documentary, we will delve deep into the heart of what made Rome great, and what ultimately led to its dramatic and prolonged fall. Join us as we explore the intricate mosaic of historical events, internal dynamics, and external pressures that dismantled the greatest empire the world had ever seen. From its mythic origins to its dramatic end, this is the story of the fall of the Roman Empire. According to legend, the city of Rome was founded in 753 BC by Romulus and Remus, twin brothers raised by a she-wolf. From these mythical beginnings, Rome grew from a modest settlement to a sprawling republic, driven by an ambition that would eventually carve out an empire. The early Romans were warriors and farmers, but it was their innovative approach to governance that set the foundation for Roman greatness. As Rome expanded, it developed a complex political system. The Republic was designed to balance power among various branches of government, a revolutionary idea that would influence political thought for millennia. However, internal conflicts and external conquests gradually transformed the Republic, setting the stage for imperial rule. Military prowess was central to Rome's expansion. Through strategic genius and sheer determination, the early Romans subdued their neighbors, laying the groundwork for an empire that would dominate the ancient world for centuries. But as Rome grew in size and power, the seeds of its own destruction were being sown. Stay tuned as we explore the transition from republic to empire and the remarkable figures who stood at the helm of this transformation. As the Roman Republic expanded, the strains of governance and external threats began to destabilize its complex political machinery. The stage was set for a radical transformation, spearheaded by one of Rome's most charismatic and controversial figures. Julius Caesar, a military genius and political tactician, rose to prominence through his conquests in Gaul. His crossing of the Rubicon in 49 BC was a declaration of war against the Senate and marked the end of the Roman Republic. Caesar's dictatorship laid the groundwork for the imperial system, though it would be his heir, Augustus, who would officially establish the Roman Empire. Augustus, known as the first emperor of Rome, implemented sweeping reforms that stabilized and secured the empire. He reorganized the military, secured the borders, and created a central bureaucracy that managed the affairs of state more efficiently than the ever-squabbling Senate. Under Augustus and his successors, the empire enjoyed a period of peace and prosperity known as the Pax Romana. This era saw the expansion of roads, increased trade, and the flourishing of arts and culture, cementing Rome's legacy as a beacon of civilization. But even as the empire reached new heights, the seeds of its eventual decline were being sown. Economic issues, military overextension, and political corruption began to erode the foundations of imperial Rome. The first 2 centuries of the Common Era marked the zenith of Roman power. Emperors like Trajan and Hadrian expanded the empire to its largest territorial extent, encompassing much of Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. The Roman legions, highly disciplined and technologically advanced for their time, were the backbone of imperial power. The construction of forts along the borders, such as the famous Hadrian's Wall in Britain, symbolized Roman authority and military precision. In Rome and its many cities, public life flourished. The Romans built amphitheaters, aqueducts, and public baths that not only served practical purposes but also reinforced the omnipresence of Rome. Commerce thrived under the stability provided by Roman governance, facilitating a boom in trade and prosperity. Culturally, the Romans assimilated and adapted the best aspects of the societies they conquered. Latin became the lingua franca of the Western world, and Roman gods merged with local deities, creating a rich tapestry of shared cultural heritage. Despite these achievements, the vastness of the empire made it cumbersome to manage. The very success of Rome planted the seeds of its challenges, as it became increasingly difficult to govern distant provinces and protect its extensive borders from emerging threats. The 3rd century AD brought with it unprecedented challenges that shook the foundations of the Roman Empire. Known as the crisis of the 3rd century, this period was characterized by military anarchy, economic instability, and constant barbarian invasions. The empire saw over 20 emperors in just 50 years, as leaders were elevated and toppled by the legions with alarming regularity. The rapid change in leadership caused political instability, which in turn led to economic turmoil. Economically, the empire suffered from severe inflation, partly due to the emperors debasing the coinage to pay the troops that supported their claims to the throne. This economic mismanagement eroded trust in Roman currency and destabilized markets throughout the empire. Externally, the pressure from barbarian groups intensified. The Goths, Vandals, and other tribes began to breach the borders, drawn by the wealth and declining power of Rome. Internally, corruption and decadence further weakened the state, making it difficult to respond effectively to these crises. As the 3rd century drew to a close, the Roman Empire, overstretched and racked by internal conflict, was on the brink of transformation. The dual system of rule instituted by Diocletian temporarily stemmed the tide, but it was clear that the glory days of Rome were well behind it. As the 4th century dawned, the Roman Empire faced mounting external threats that tested the resilience of its borders. The pressure from barbarian groups not only challenged Roman military might, but also reshaped the political landscape of Europe. The Goths, fleeing the advance of the Huns from the east, sought refuge within the empire's borders. Initially settled as foederati, or allied mercenaries, they soon grew discontented with Roman treatment, leading to the pivotal Battle of Adrianople in 378 AD, where the Roman army suffered a devastating defeat. This battle marked a significant turning point, demonstrating the vulnerability of Roman military power and emboldening other barbarian groups to challenge the empire's authority. The Huns, under the fearsome leadership of Attila, became a formidable threat, raiding and pillaging Roman territories in the Balkans and Gaul. Attila's incursions into the Western Roman Empire culminated in the Battle of the Catalaunian Plains in 451 AD, where Roman forces, allied with Visigoths, managed to halt his advance. Although not a decisive victory, it prevented the Huns from further penetrating into Roman Gaul. The constant threat of invasions drained the Roman treasury and required significant military resources. The Western Roman Empire, less wealthy and politically stable than its eastern counterpart, struggled to muster the necessary defenses. In 395 AD, the formal division of the Roman Empire into East and West reflected the differing fortunes of its territories. The Eastern Empire, with its capital at Constantinople, proved more resilient, benefiting from stronger leadership, better finances, and more defensible borders. As the 5th century approached, the Western Roman Empire was becoming a shadow of its former self, increasingly dependent on barbarian troops and plagued by internal division and external threats. The stage was set for a series of events that would ultimately lead to its downfall. The final decades of the Western Roman Empire were marked by a series of shocks that each in turn brought the empire closer to its end. The sacking of Rome by the Visigoths in 410 AD shattered the myth of the Eternal City's invincibility. Led by Alaric, the Visigoths rampaged through the city, looting and causing widespread destruction. This event was not just a military disaster, but a psychological blow to the Roman identity. Only a few decades later, the Vandals, having crossed into North Africa and taken Carthage, sailed to Rome and sacked it again in 455 AD, further depleting the empire's dwindling resources. The political instability of the Western Empire accelerated its decline. Emperors were often controlled by military strongmen and had little real power, making effective governance nearly impossible. In 476 AD, a Germanic leader named Odoacer deposed the last Roman emperor of the West, Romulus Augustulus. Odoacer's refusal to acknowledge a new emperor in the West and his proclamation as the King of Italy marked the end of the Western Roman Empire. With the fall of the Western Roman Empire, its territories fragmented into a series of barbarian kingdoms. The classical era of Mediterranean civilization under Roman rule had ended, giving way to the tumultuous period of the early Middle Ages. The fall of the Western Roman Empire did not occur overnight, nor was it the result of a single cause. It was a gradual process, exacerbated by internal weaknesses and external pressures, that collectively unraveled one of history's greatest empires. The dissolution of the Western Roman Empire led to the rise of various barbarian kingdoms on its former territory. However, the Eastern Roman Empire, or Byzantine Empire, continued to thrive, preserving much of Roman law, culture, and administration. The Byzantine Empire, centered around its capital Constantinople, became a beacon of stability and continued Roman traditions. Under Emperor Justinian, significant efforts were made to recapture lost Western territories and codify Roman laws, a compilation that would influence legal systems for centuries. Even as the Western Empire fell, the legacy of Rome persisted throughout medieval Europe. Roman legal and political ideas were incorporated into the emerging structures of European kingdoms. Centuries later, the Renaissance saw a renewed interest in the art, philosophy, and governance of ancient Rome, influencing the cultural rebirth across Europe and shaping the modern Western world. Today, the Roman Empire's influence is evident in numerous aspects of contemporary life, from governmental institutions and legal systems to architecture and language. The story of Rome is a poignant reminder of the rise and fall of empires, offering timeless lessons on power, governance, and cultural integration. The fall of the Roman Empire is a complex narrative of decline and transformation that spans centuries and involves a multitude of factors, both internal and external. As we reflect on the Roman Empire, we see not just a tale of decay, but also one of adaptation and enduring legacy. The collapse of the Western Roman Empire set the stage for the modern age, influencing the geopolitical landscape of Europe and the broader world. The story of Rome teaches us about the vulnerability of even the greatest powers to internal discord and external pressures. It prompts us to consider how contemporary societies can learn from Roman successes and failures to build a resilient, enduring civilization. Thank you for joining us on this journey through one of history's most intriguing empires. What lessons do you think modern civilizations can draw from the Roman experience? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon for more insightful content.